Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back to Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. I want to welcome everybody who's tuned in today, both on the radio and also live, because we're doing the live stream thing. And I brought some things to talk about. And also, folks who are watching this on the podcast, we appreciate that. And share it with other folks. Send the link. But before we even get started, Java.
Yes, sir.
What's up with that Christmas sweater you got? Nightmare Before Christmas sweater.
Yeah, the Nightmare Before Christmas, man. We are here. It is Christmas season, December. It feels like December outside, so I had to put on my sweater. And I mean, you know, it's ugly sweater season.
That ain't an ugly one. That ain't ugly one at all. So, but anyway, how are you doing, man? Got your hair done and everything?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I like how when we're talking about cold weather, there's so many words that we can use. And this morning, what you said, crisp. It's real crisp outside.
Crisp, yep. It's Christmas season.
There you go.
Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I've got some notes, some things that have been going on because, you know, we were off last week because of Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a safe holiday.
Yeah, how was your Thanksgiving, Felder?
It was good. I had all the family over. You know, my cabin is I went from 324 square feet to 354 square feet with a new addition. And so we decided to have everybody over.
Okay.
And it ain't big enough. I mean, it's big enough to put their bodies in, but the pressure of having all, you know, the pressure generated by family all talking at the same time, it got intense.
Well, I mean, that is the holidays.
Yeah.
Intense family meetings.
What was interesting, though, you know, I live in a little cabin in my backyard because I travel a lot. And it's a small little thing. And managed to scrape up barely enough plates for everybody and not enough forks. So we had Thanksgiving. Some people had plastic forks.
Oh,
but we were thankful anyway.
That's what I'm about to say. As long as family can get together, that's always the blessing.
Well, we had most of the state has had a freeze down. I don't know about South Mississippi. It's been frosted. The past 3 or 4 nights, it was okay in my garden. Things up high where the air temperature was cold, sort of browned out a little bit. But things close to the ground didn't freeze because there's a lot of radiated heat at night. And we'll talk about that just a little bit. Also about my booglified plants.
Always booglification.
Yeah, booglification happened in my yard. But it's a call-in program. So anybody who wants to talk about what's going on or not in your garden, give us a call. It's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. And we're going to start out in West Tennessee and talk with Ann. Ann, West Tennessee could be anywhere from Jackson to Memphis. Hello?
Yes, sir. How are you guys this morning?
Fine, thank you. How are you? What's up?
Well, real quick, my husband and I decided we wanted like a real live little Christmas type tree.
Right.
You know, in a dirt ball or so we have it in. I bought two little plants from Lowe's, and they're both about 3 foot tall, and they look real Christmassy. Well, the smaller one looks so unprepossessing, but my husband has no idea it's a Leland cypress, and it will grow gigantic. But the one that looks a little bigger is a blue point juniper, and it won't grow to be like a monster. But what I was wondering about, is it okay? They were out in the, outside at Lowe's, but are they okay to be inside over Christmas? And I'd really love to transplant the blue point juniper, and I was wondering about some tips on that. I don't know how to tell him about the Leland cypress. He's going to go crazy.
Well,
like,
here's a couple. First of all, Leyland cypress does get big where it's native. It gets big in England. It gets big in Seattle. It gets big up in the mountains. But it's a cross between 2 native plants, one native to the mountains of California, where it cools down at night, and one of its parents is from Alaska. It really doesn't do that well in the South. It'll do okay in the Mid-South, but if he wants it to live for a long time, when y'all plant it, you need to dig a wide hole and put it way out away from anything where it can get its natural size. In other words, just let it get big, but plant it where where it won't be a problem. But you really need to dig a wide hole, because what happens with Leyland cypress, blue point juniper, those kind of things, except for our native cedar, a lot of juniper and firs and those kind of things, they tend to get root rot from our hot, humid summer nights and stress and all like that. So nice wide hole. So anyway, just tell her, put it where, if it lives, which it could live for many, many years, where it's not going to be too big of a problem. Here's the issue, though. A lot of people are concerned about this. The living plants used for Christmas trees, these plants are used to growing outdoors, where it's real sun, real temperatures, including cool temperatures, and most important, humidity. When you bring those things in the house, we have fairly, 70s or so, the temperatures, low light, even if it's in the window, and worse, low humidity. And what this does is it causes plants to dry out quicker than they can replace it from the roots. So ideally, you'll decorate it and then bring it in for special occasions, but leave it out on the porch or something. That would be ideal if you can. Otherwise, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to slowly think it's in a spaceship with no humidity. And a month from seriously, a month from now, those needles are going to start to shed. And plus, when you put it back out, it will have been used to your indoor temperatures at a time when normally it's starting to slow down for the winter. See, so you're keeping it sort of in a false summer, and when you set it outside, it won't be cold hardy, even though it's native to really cold areas. So if you can, keep it outside, bring it in, for special occasions and things. I know this may not be possible, but if you don't do that, expect it to drop some leaves, some of those needles later, maybe a month or so from now, and just try to keep it out of a draft if you can. Hold a candle up, and if the candle is flickering, you need to move it, or else put a little piece of cardboard to deflect the heater from blowing right on it.
Right. And if you made a good point, because we actually could put it out in our deck and stuff and see it through the window.
That's perfect.
We have some options. But is it okay, like when it's going to be really cold, to go ahead and transplant it?
Oh yeah, These
right before
these plants grow in Canada. They like it. They like it cold better than they like our. What really harms these plants, believe it or not, is 70 degrees in the middle of the winter, which we have. So no, it's fine. Have him go ahead and dig the hole first, and it's going to take him a while to get over that. But while y'all are enjoying it this season, dig the hole nice and wide, and then go back later, dig it a little bit wider. In other words, take his time and make the hole sort of like a hobby. And that way, when you're ready to set it out, you just pull it out, stick it in the ground, and you're done with it.
Okay, so give me some kind of parameters, like how wide and about how deep.
3 or 4 feet wide, shovel deep enough to set it in.
Okay.
But wide is more important than deep when it comes to plants.
Right, I remember you preached the gospel of wide.
It ain't gospel. This ain't gospel. This is treat the plant like it wants to. An old Stoic named Epictetus once said, "A fig is like a man. If you want him to get it to do what you want, you got to treat it its own way, and it wants to be in a wide hole outside."
Now you tell me marriage advice. Okay, thanks so much, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Java saved me here. What did I do?
No, you gave her what she said,
Yes.
Marriage advice.
Yes. Well,
treat the plant like the man.
Yeah, treat him his own way. If you want to get in what you want to do, figure out, tamales or banana pudding, one of the two.
Let's go to because Ann had some great points, and we almost done with this first segment. But let's go to Jackie in Waynesboro.
Okay, hey Jackie, good morning.
Good morning, Felder. How are you?
I'm fine. What's going on down in Wayne County?
Well, besides the cold weather, I'm having some trouble with my lawn. I've had some water oaks that just came up volunteer, so therefore they were really nice shades and everything, but my grass dies underneath it. So
Yep.
I thought I had someone with a pole saw to cut the limbs as high up as they could reach so the sun would reach the dirt. So someone told me the other day that a water oak emits acid or something that kills the grass.
Nah, it doesn't. They're making that up. That ain't true.
Oh, really? Well, good. I'm hoping having the sun reach the dirt, and if I fertilize it and maybe bring some more sod in or anything, I can have at least some grass there. What do you think?
Well, here's not what I think. Here's what I was taught in Mississippi State Turf Management. Here's what I've observed for over 40 years is I have yet to see a single example of anyone successfully getting grass started in the shade, because it's a full sun plant. St. Augustine will tolerate some shade up to maybe 50% or so. But if you got more than 50%, hold your hand out there when the leaves are, if it's more than 50% shade, you're out of the grass business. That's what leaves are for, and mulch and ground covers and things. But trying to get grass started, if it's under a tree, a lot of people have grass that's growing under the tree, and it looks great because they mow really, really high. So if you set the mower at the highest setting and throw the wrench away and only fertilize it lightly and wait till April or so after the grass has been greened up and mowed a time or two, a little bit of fertilizer and mowing high, that gives us its best chance. But I really think that you should make some kind of line, whether it's a curved line or straight line, some kind of little ditch or something, monkey grass, but put an edge to say, here's where the grass goes, here's where the tree starts. And the closer you get to the trunk, the more tree leaves make sense, and ground covers and monkey grass and stuff like that. But trying to get it started. If you don't mow high, it doesn't have a chance. If you mow high, I don't know how much of a chance it's got, but it's got a better chance.
So having someone do the pole saw really high, the sun reaches everything now, so I can at least get some of my grass back, right?
You can, but keep in mind, the grass is horizontal, tree trunk is vertical. Something in between will soften that edge. Put you some azaleas or some nandina or some ground covers out there. In other words, come on out from the front and make a distinct line where the grass stops and the tree root area start, and visually it looks good. This is what botanic gardens do. They make a nice little neat line between the two, and that instead of the grass petering out into the shade, you got an area where it just stops and it's easy to take care of.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a large area of no grass, but I think getting rid of some of the limbs and letting the sun in, I will at least have some up to a point.
That's right.
And then the tree starts.
And also think about grass rather than wall-to-wall carpet. Think of it as throw rug or runner rug. In other words, have some grass here and there where it's the brightest. And if you go to old botanic gardens right around Oak, you'll see this a lot. There's a whole lot. They just don't even try to grow grass on the trees. And they managed to pull it off in botanic gardens. So anyway, you'll be the talk of Waynesboro.
Okay. Thank you so much, Felder. I'll file that. Thank you so much.
Put some pink flamingos out there. Put some pink flamingos and nobody will notice.
I don't know. Yeah, they'll be looking at that for sure.
Okay, well, just remember, mow high.
Thank you so much.
Okay, appreciate it. Java. Man, we jumped on it, didn't we?
I've seen pink flamingos with Santa Claus hats.
Yeah, I actually gave a lecture one time with the man who patented the pink flamingos in 1957. He autographed mine.
That's a thing. That's a collector's item.
Yeah. He gave a great quote. He said, think about this, fella. Before pink flamingos, only wealthy people could afford poor taste. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. I got a really cheesy tune coming in a little while, and I wanted to mention a little bit about my trip up to Kosciuszko a couple of weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving. It was a lot of fun. Also, the Chimneyville Arts Festival, the Craftsman's Guild of Mississippi, 48th annual Chimneyville Arts Festival. Went to the preview party last night. It was fantastic. Anyway, me and Java and other folks at MPB, we're going to take a little short break. We're going to come back and talk about these flowers that are smelling up this whole room. We'll be right back.
Support for MPB.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Those of you listening live and those of you who are watching the live stream, you can see some of the stuff that Jav and I talk about every week here, plus some of the pictures I sent. Jav, before we get any further, ran into a fella at my pub the other night, and he said he's been listening to the program a long time. But he said now that he can see you and me live, he said, I thought y'all were tall and smart.
Oh, man, I'm going to say it. I got told just yesterday that somebody who listened to the programs all the time, they have this visualization of myself as a tall, slender guy. And I said, well, you did get the tall part right.
Well, anyway, and by the way, you got your headphones on, but you had a cool little hat.
Bringing the Christmas spirit into MPB. She's did some things with the studio, and she's been passing out goodies. I'll put these glasses. They're actually glasses.
Oh, glasses. There you go.
Yeah, these are festive glasses to go with my festive sweater.
I'm laughing with you, not at you. No, I'm laughing at you.
Well, it's the holiday spirit, man. It's all in the spirit. All in the spirit.
That's right. By
but
the
now
way,
I can't see.
That's right. Jermaine, by the way, she's coming on next with the Next Stop, Mississippi, and her Christmas dress is knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
The lucky people who are on live stream. Anyway, I've been telling people I'm tall and smart on the radio, and they know better now. I told him just to close his eyes, pretend he's just listening to the radio. Anyway, this whole place is smelling up in here right now because I brought some paper whites. This little paper white narcissus. About half the people who smell it think it smells like cat pee, and you've got a cat, you understand.
I do have a cat now, so half the people are exactly right.
But paper whites are type of narcissus, Narcissus tazetta. Not that anybody cares, but there's a lot of different kinds of daffodils, the kind with the big cups and the doubles and all that. But the ones called tazettas have multiple flowers per stem, and they're typically real fragrant. But get this, our friends up north, like in Minnesota and Ohio and
Minnesota,
Minnesota and Wisconsin, they can't grow paper whites. They're for us. They're southern plants. They don't need much cold to bloom. And here it is. Well, these are blooming last week. These are blooming for Thanksgiving. So for Thanksgiving and all the holiday season, you can have paper white narcissus that are blooming. You can actually force them to grow indoors. But the important part, a lot of people are whining. Java, I can't say whining, but they're whining. People are whining about winter. I'm thinking you've got daffodils and so many flowering quince, camellias. Matter of fact, I made a bouquet here, and it's got some pink. It's got a red and white Camellia japonica, which they bloom in the middle of the winter. Mm-hmm. I've got some pink Camellia sasanqua, which bloom in the fall, paper whites, and some berries of nandina. You cannot get more festive than that, and these only bloom in the winter.
Now, see, that's the part where I think a lot of people can't wrap their head around to the whiners that you're talking about.
Yeah, and they're not really whining, but they're saying, "Oh, my cat has died." Now, by the way, I've got this. Talking to my friend Clayton Allen, who was a roommate of mine in graduate school. He coined a phrase called "booglified." When plants get frozen, the bananas, the cannas, in this case my castor bean, when they get frozen, they don't just die; they wilt. They look nasty. They start dripping. It's just a horrible thing that happens to plants. They'll be back. But booglification finally hit my garden last night.
Well, I mean, it was, 29 degrees last night?
It was. And what I did, though, because my cabin's not quite ready for me to bring my plants in. No, excuse me. I put it off too late to bring the plants in. And they got leaves in them. They probably got lizards. Who knows what all is in those plants. But what I did was I clustered them up outside against my sliding door that goes into my little cabin, a little side door. I clustered them up there. I covered it with plastic, so it's like a stapled greenhouse on the side. And I just opened up my sliding door, so the indoor temperature heated, sort of inflated like a balloon. But I clustered them all up against the wall, and I think the live stream folks can see the picture of the plants grouped against the house. And then the next shot of looking from the house out through my open screen door where they're all protected. I'm going to have to bring him in today, of course.
Now, remind people about just throwing the blanket over the top of the flowers is not really the best thing, or like throwing the blanket over the top of the bushes. You really need to get down to the soil, right?
Yeah, well, you want to catch the temperature, the heat rising from the soil. See, so if you just cover a plant up, all that does is protect from the air temperatures for a little bit. And it only works down to about 28, 29 degrees. It doesn't help below that. But what I do is I drape it all the way to the ground, and there's a lot of residual, because it's been sunny in the day. A lot of residual warmth rises out of the soil, and I'm trapping it. So it's just like putting your hand over, it's like an umbrella, but it catches the warmth. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. A lot of folks have noted, and want to remind folks, this is a toll-free call-in program. If you got some things you want to talk about, give us a call, toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. There's a lot of people notice that we've had a spate of fall colors. I've got some pictures taken around my neighborhood of a maple tree with a yellow ginkgo in the back, brilliant colors. See a little white picket fence in the back. And also in my front yard, one of the most brilliant plants for fall color in my garden is called sumac. And it just grows along the side of the road. And I've got just one sumac leaf. It's not red. It's not orange. I don't know my Crayolas well enough, but it is brilliant red fall color in the worst of condition. No water, nothing. It'll grow in the it grows on the side of the road.
You know what that color looks like a little bit?
What?
Like a burnt orange.
Burnt orange. Well, yeah.
Sort of, kind of.
And when you hold up to the light, the backlight. Anyway, that's what I enjoy in my garden. In the morning, it looks one color, and afternoon, when the sun shines through it. Anyway, sumac, ginkgos, maples, the red oaks, some crepe myrtles, dogwoods. We're seeing brilliant fall colors out there. So people are whining about summertime being gone. Forget that. We have something to enjoy every month of the year. Every single month of the year, we have something we can enjoy. We do have lines open if anyone wants to give us a call. Toll free 1-877-MPB-RING. But let me mention this. This past week, I mentioned I went to Kosciuszko. Mm-hmm. Dr. Tim Alford, who's a physician there, he and some other folks they've got an old auditorium there. And it had asbestos, and they were going to tear it down. I said, no, we're not going to tear this down. So they refurbished it. They cleaned it up. It is a beautiful venue. It's called the Skipworth Performing Arts Center, right across the street from the library. And anyway, last week, the Jackson Symphony Orchestra, my friend Crafton Beck is a conductor. They invited me to come up and honor a man named Charles Mickey Grove. And Java, you may not remember this, but I've talked about him. He was my band director in high school.
They contacted, I think they got to you through me a little bit. I saw that. I remember that. So you did go and
I went up there and they got him to Mr. Grove, Mickey Grove. He's in his 80s now. He did a fantastic job of conducting the symphony. But I mentioned that 60 years ago. This fall, right now, 60 years ago, I was 12 years old. He helped my parents who were poor. My dad was a school teacher. My mother had 4 kids. Buy a trombone for $35. Now, Java, you and I we've been to juke joints and all like that. They got a band, and you see this old guy bringing his trombone. The case is raggedy. It's been on the road for 50 years. I got this trombone for $35, right? And it smelled like cigarettes and booze.
it had been around.
I was 12. But within 5 years, Mickey Grove had me performing in a symphony, All-State Lions Band. He was ended up being president of the National Association of High School Band Directors. But he's right there in Kosciuszko. Anyway, it was my honor to introduce Charles Mickey Grove. We appreciate it. And by the way, downtown Kosciuszko at night is one of the most festive holiday downtown squares I've ever seen.
Well, that's all right. Shout out to Mr. Mickey Grove for changing Felder's life.
Yeah, and before we go to the cheesy tune, I want to ask you, anybody's got a turkey hunter in your family? I just heard what may be the perfect turkey call, hand-carved by a retired pharmacist at the Craftsman Guild, the 40th Annual Chimneyville Arts Festival. It's at the Billwater Craft Center. It's right in Ridgeland, right off the trace on Rice Road. They had glass and ceramic artists, wood carvers, tapestries, hand-woven clothing, pottery, quilters, carved gourds, 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock today and tomorrow. It's a really cool place. Now, to set up this song, Java, you know, we've played the chicken song. I said that is the whitest music you'll ever hear anywhere, the chicken dance. Well, this is a group that was called, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's really cheesy. And this is going to stick with you all day. Bye, 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 bye.
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody's talking about the bird. Oh, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a word. Papa, well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is the word. Well, a bird, bird, the bird's the word.
Okay, the tune was called The Surfing Bird. It's by the Trashmen. The Trashmen. 1963, but it was actually a cover of a 1962 black, not bebop, doo-wop group called the Rivingtons. And anyway, it's the Surfing Bird, also known Bird as a Word. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's go to Tennessee and see what Joe's up to. Joe, what you got about your tomatoes?
Hello.
Howdy. What's up, man?
Good to talk to you. I talked to you last August about my tomato plant, and you may not remember, but I said at that time that in 2023 I planted a plant and put my basil around it, and all last year I had no tomato worms.
Yeah.
So I thought, whoa, I'll do that again this year. So this spring, I planted my tomato plant. I put basil plants around it. There were no tomato worms again. And I called in August this year and said, hey, is there anything to this? And you said, well, there's no scientific
nobody can show that it really works, but
right, that's right. Well, here's the rest of the story. After I called you, I went out of town for a week, came back, looked at tomato plants, and guess what I found?
Tomato hornworms.
The whole top of my tomatoes were eaten by tomato worms.
This is a lot of anecdotal stuff, and I hear, they say marigolds will repel pests. Well, there's at least 15 insects that feed on marigolds, and butterflies pollinate the flowers. But people are going to insist on, and you know what? It doesn't hurt to plant basil around tomatoes.
Yes, well, I enjoyed both of them, by the way, and for my food, but But for all those who heard my story last August that was repelling the tomato worms, don't believe it. It was false.
Yeah, but
came.
But you know what? Isn't it a better story because they hit it than if it had actually worked? Hey, have you ever seen the adult of the what the tomato hornworm turns into?
Yes, it's a moth.
It's a big old moth, big old
kind of a brownish.
Yeah, big old sphinx moth. He spread the wings out. It's got sort of rusty orange markings on his abdomen. It's a beautiful moth, and it pollinates stuff at night. So anyway, I appreciate you. I would say eating crow, but eating worms.
That's right.
I appreciate it, Joe. Hey, how much of a freeze have y'all had in Tennessee?
Freeze? Oh, it was 22 degrees this morning when I
Ouch.
got up.
I wish I hadn't asked.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate your call, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Ooh, these paper whites are something else. You can grow paper whites indoors, and they'll bloom within about 3 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks, maybe. What you do is you get some paper white. It was just a type of daffodil, of daffodil. If you put the paper white bulbs in a little gravel or some Mardi Gras beads or anything that holds them upright and put just enough water to touch the base of the bulb, they'll sprout indoors, and they'll bloom 3-4 weeks. They got flowers. If you don't like the smell of cat urine, you may not want to do this because one flower is enough to fill up an entire room. I think it's one of the best smells. This is my earliest fragrance memory from my childhood. Every time I smell them, I'm transported right back to my grandmother's garden. But anyway, this bouquet I made, Java, it's not bad. It's pink camellias, white paper whites, and it's got nandina berries. It looks good in a vase, but they look good in the yard, too. Camellia is a big old evergreen bush loaded with flowers. Nandina is called heavenly bamboo. Around the edges of it, nice feathery-looking, ferny-looking leaves, and then a skirt of these paper whites. It looks good in the yard in December and even into January and February. So
Now, when do you have to plant? If you don't have them, when do you have to plant them so they look good in December and January?
Well, if you plant them now, of course, they're not going to have time to bloom. I just planted a bunch of daffodils I found in a bulb in my potting shed the other day, but they'll be blooming this time next year. They'll still bloom. They'll bloom later this coming year, but then they'll be back on time next year. But and by the way, since I got my eyes fixed, I got that old man thing. I got where I can. I've been wearing glasses since I was 15, but now I got my cataracts done. I can see all the way to Canton and back, but I can't read anything up close. So I've got these reading glasses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, tell me you've had cataract surgery without saying it. Well, what you do is somebody wants to show you something. You reach around, you pat and then you find your glasses and put them on. My readers, but I've been able to see stuff I haven't really noticed before, which not always a good thing. The other day I was walking across the street to the store, and in the curb was a little tiny toy, like a truck tire off a truck.
Tiny toy truck tire.
Yeah, it was a tiny toy truck tire, a little alliteration in the morning.
There you go.
Think Radio. Oh, no, I just thought of something. MPB or Think Radio. Mm-hmm. We're going to say Think Radio. Get it together.
It's all about the inflection.
Think Radio. Anyway, this tire was about the size of a golf ball.
Okay.
And being a trash collector, dumpster diver, I put it in my pocket, went back home, thought about it. I took a pair of scissors to it, cut around the rim.
Did you make a mini tire planter?
Yes, I did.
I already knew what this was going.
I painted it white with a green rim on the inside. And I got little succulents in there, which will grow in here. They haven't rooted yet. But I made a little tire, and the part I cut off, I put around the base, is a little crown tire made out of a toy truck.
Now, you remember I was there at the Jackson Home Show.
Oh, yeah.
Where you made a tire planter in front of the crowd.
Yeah, an old man huffing and puffing.
Oh, you flipped it, man. I got to give it to you.
I did. There's a trick to it. If you don't know about disco dancing, you can't make the right kind of move to invert a tire. If anybody wants to know how to do it, though, I've got instructions and pictures and everything, all about, including this new little tire planter on my blog. If you go to
tiny toy tire planter.
Yeah, if you go to felderrushing.blog, under the main headings, I got a little thing about recycled tires. all about it, how to do it, how not to do it. And I got pictures of my tiny little, probably the smallest tire planter on earth. I'm going to say it. I got the smallest tire planter on earth.
Come on, Guinness Book.
Well, I don't think there's a category for that. Anyway, anybody wants to give us a call, it's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. We'll talk about anything that's on your mind. I would mention this, people who bring in, going back to our first call, the lady who wants to have a living Christmas tree and bring it in. Mm-hmm. They do have a serious time being brought from the cold into the warmth and the low humidity. That's what really gets these plants, low humidity. If you've got to do this, or if you're bringing your potted plants in, you're getting a poinsettia, any kind of plant like that, put it where the heater is not blowing directly on it, because that really dries them out. Misting doesn't help. It helps for maybe 5 minutes till it mist disappears. Clustering plants together, create a little mini jungle. They share humidity. That helps a lot. So clustering plants, putting pots of small plants on top of the potting soil of bigger plants, that helps a lot. But also, they're going to have to be watered. Indoor plants don't need to be watered as much as those outside, especially in the wintertime, because there's not much light. But you do have to water, so be prepared. What I'm doing today, I've got me a tarp, brand new plastic tarp from one of the big box stores. I'm putting it on my floor, putting a piece of plastic on that. I'm setting my plants on that, so if any kind of worms that come out, or potting soil, or any water that seeps out, it's not going to damage my floor. So anyway, I just want to throw that out. You're going to bring plants in, try to keep them out of a draft. Try to keep them clustered if you can, and water them as needed, just not quite as much. So got some lines open right now. People a little quiet. I think they're still overstuffed from last week. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving?
Or maybe their coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
Oh, man, my coffee is kicking in good. I had a tooth pull the other day, which is okay, but I got my doctor to write me a prescription to saying I can only eat soft food like tamales and banana pudding. So I would recommend tamales and banana pudding will help soothe having a tooth pull.
That was in the prescription.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Doc. And maybe some oatmeal. Nope, no oatmeal. Anyway, Java and I, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener. We have the lines wide open. You're going to give us a call. So stick with us, folks. We'll be right back with more of the Gestalt Garden on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. All righty, welcome back. Java saw something yesterday that reminded me of a question nobody asked, although the question would be, what is that?
Okay, give it to me.
Relax, it's okay. Saw a sundog yesterday.
A sundog?
Yeah. And we got a picture of it for the folks who watched on live stream. And I just sent you a picture of it on your email. Sundog is a piece of a rainbow. Rainbows are always curved.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes if the light is just right and there's ice crystals high up in the air, you can see these from airplanes a lot, but it's rare you can see it from the ground here. You see it up in the mountains. But a sundog is where the sun hits ice crystals high in the atmosphere and makes a round rainbow, just a circle with all the colors.
I see. I'm looking at the picture now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was driving back from visiting a garden center up in Madison, and saw it, pulled over the side of the road and took a picture. But you can't see it with the bare eyes this low. I saw it because I had my sunglasses on. So I took that picture through my sunglasses.
Look at you, Felder.
I'm telling you, man, I might be a boomer, but I get this stuff figured out.
You
Anyway,
get it done.
A sundog is it's a rainbow spot. And you only see it when there's ice crystals high in the sky. How about that?
Well, that's all right there, Felder, man.
Yeah. Think radio. I wish I hadn't come up with that. Hey, let's go up to Memphis. Nancy, thank you for holding. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly well. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you. I'm doing great. I appreciate it. So my question, sir, is I have brought in a potted bamboo plant from outside that was doing great this summer, watered it aggressively, and it grew gangbusters. Now, of course, since I brought it in, it's sad and it's dropped probably 75% of its leaves, and I'm sad. And I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for me. It was well watered before I brought it in, and I just listened to your segment about clustering plants, and it's in a nice cluster, but it is not handling the transition well at all.
Okay, let me ask you an important question. When you say a bamboo, what do you mean?
I know. I don't know what variety it is, but it is a bamboo plant that I bought a few years back.
Was it called Lucky Bamboo? The reason I'm saying there are a lot of different bamboos. Real bamboo grows outside, and there's a type of Dracaena called ribbon Dracaena. And a lot of times they call it Lucky Bamboo. They grow it in water. And a lot of times they're all braided together and all like that. But Lucky Bamboo is not a real bamboo. They just call it that because it looks like that. So if you got a real bamboo or this tropical plant called bamboo.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Dracaena that you're talking about, and it is not that. This is a real bamboo type.
Okay. Here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then here's my advice. Put it back outside where it wants to be.
Oh, wow. Even in 20 degrees?
Yeah, look around. You go to Dixon Art Gallery and Garden. They got a collection of bamboo. The Memphis Botanic Garden got a whole collection of bamboos. Now, they turn brown in the winter if it gets really, really cold, but they come back up in the spring from the roots. Yeah, but bamboo is an outdoor plant. And here's the problem. If you leave it inside, those leaves that turn brown because of the shift, plants can't shift like we can. When a leaf is formed, indoors or out, it's stuck there, and you move it to a different place, they're not efficient. They turn brown, they shed. The plant puts on new leaves. Problem is, bamboo only puts up growth once a year in the spring. See, so what I would do, if you're going to leave it inside, keep it watered, of course, but just assume that all the stuff that's on it now is not going to make it, but it'll be replaced in the spring. So take it out on the porch today. It's nice and sunny out there. Spray paint it. And then when it dries, put it back in and enjoy it. And then next spring, the new growth will come up nice and healthy. Nothing you can do to help what you've got get green again. And it's not going to put on new growth this year.
Course.
So
okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, Nancy, I'm not kidding about this. If you want to bring it in,
I absolutely believe you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
gonna drag it back out.
Yeah, hang some Mardi Gras beads on it, spray paint it some pretty color and enjoy it, or put it outside a protected place. It'll do fine.
There you go. I'm going to decorate it. Yep.
Appreciate your call, Nancy.
Thank you.
Java, I may be the only garden. There's a lot of garden radio hosts around the country, around the world. We've been doing this for 20-something years. I've been doing live radio since 1983, 41 years. Okay.
I'm 40.
You're 40?
Just had to say it.
Okay, I've been doing radio since before you were born.
Before.
But get this, I'm probably the only garden expert who says spray paint is a good thing. It'll make flower pots out of tires he finds in the street.
Well, I always say it, Felder, you're not trying to sell a thing. So it's always what's best for the plant and what's really going to make you feel good.
Well, as Martha Stewart quoted me as saying, it doesn't matter what you do or how well you do it, your neighbors are going to talk about you anyway. So have a little fun.
There you go.
Let's slide down to Florida, up Highway 49 from Jackson, and talk with Russell. Russell, what's up?
Hey, Felder, good morning. Java, good morning. How y'all?
All right, man.
Good. Hey, Felder, I have a couple citrus plants that I leave on my front porch, and they've done really well the past several years. And then this year they didn't bloom at all and didn't bear any fruit. And I was just wondering if there's anything I can do to mitigate that for next year, or is that just part of the process?
Well, they can. You have it in a pot, I'm assuming, right? You bring it in when it freezes?
Large pots.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know, keep it in mind that a citrus tree wants to be growing wild in Japan, wild in China. They grow outside in Florida, sometimes, and even along the Gulf Coast, but they want to be trees outside all year. And so when you bring them, you put it in a pot, it becomes what I call a victim. It can't run roots out and find what it needs. It's stuck in that pot. So you got to give it everything it needs: sunshine, warm temperatures, and fertilizer. And if you'll give it a little bit of fertilizer, and don't think you have to overdo it. Fertilizer is like a spoonful of sugar. You don't need 3 spoons of sugar, okay? This ain't Raisin Bran. You don't need 2 scoops. But a little bit of fertilizer, but use one that's got everything plants need. It's called a complete fertilizer. It'll have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash, so 3 numbers. But if you look on the side of the label, it'll have things like zinc and iron and calcium and molybdenum, and I already say that. But all it needs a whole stuff it would normally get out in the dirt. So a good quality fertilizer, no stronger than directions call for, plenty of sunshine and water when it gets dry. It also helps to thin out some of the branches. If you got a whole bunch of branches, just clip some of them out. Just thin it out. The energy that would go to what you cut off will go to what's left, and that'll help it a lot.
Yeah, well, the plants are, like I said, really healthy-looking plants. They just didn't bloom this year.
Yeah, they're healthy. They're healthy looking. They're healthy looking, but you know, you see people around you look healthy looking, and they're sick in their heads.
Yeah, that's all right.
So anyway, an all-purpose fertilizer. You want a complete fertilizer that's got calcium and zinc and all that stuff. And there's lots of them out there. Also, they tend to bloom in the late winter. So make sure it gets as much sunshine as it can. Every pretty day you've got, put it. It's not fun. I spent my youth having to drag some of my mother's plants in and out every time it got cold weather. It's not fun. But if you put on some rollers where it makes it easier, if we're going to have a week of 60, 70, 80 degrees, put it outside.
Okay.
It's not fun. It's not fun, but you just got to keep in mind that plant is a victim. It's up to you to give it what it needs. Like I have a goldfish or a cat or a dog, you gotta treat it right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, man. I got a little bonus question. Kind of relates to that same thing, but have you ever planted any like cocoa beans, to make chocolate with? Is that something viable in the
In a pot. The cacao plant. It's a small tree, and it makes these look like little small football, or look like sweet potatoes growing on the side of the stem. But it really needs to have sunshine and humidity and warmth all year, strictly tropical. So bring it indoors out, it's going to drop all of its leaves, and it's not going to be happy.
Okay. I appreciate that, man. Y'all have a happy holidays.
Okay. Hey, appreciate your call, and you stay warm.
Happy holidays to you too, Russell. Appreciate your call, man.
Thank you.
Paper whites, man. Paper whites are the first. If you have paper white narcissus, and then there's one called Two Sisters that blooms in April, you can have paper whites for daffodils for 5 months. We got a good season coming up where you don't have to water. You're not going to have as many problems with bugs. You don't have to do as much pruning and stuff. And I'm talking about things like camellias, daffodils, winter blooming, what they call the flowering quince. We have so many plants. There's a shrub called Lanicera fragrantissima. What is that common name? Winter honeysuckle.
Okay. What did you say before winter honeysuckle?
Its Latin name is Lanicera, which means honeysuckle, fragrantissima.
You knew that off the top of your head before winter honeysuckle.
That's right.
But, that's crazy.
Well, I had to learn that stuff. I can even spell it right, too. Hey, by the way, you know what the Latin name of sweet gum tree is?
What is it?
Which is beautiful fall colors. Liquid amber styressa flua.
Liquid amber styressa tua.
Close enough.
I think so.
You say that out in public, they're going to look at you funny. Of course, when you got those holiday glasses on, you can say anything, Joe. Big guy like you with Santa Claus glasses on, you go for it.
It's giving leave me alone.
Yeah.
But happy holidays.
That's right. Well, we do appreciate folks who tune in, who listen every week. MPB is Think Radio. We've got a lot of great local programs. We've got one coming up next. I hope that you're on live stream. First of all, to see Java's Santa Claus glasses, but wait till you see Jermaine's outfit. Wow. I am horticulturalist Felder Rushing. I'm about to head over the pond, Java. You know that.
Yeah, but we're nothing's gonna change. We got a show coming next week, and it's gonna be a banger.
It's gonna be live stream, and I'm bringing you a box of stuff where every week I'm gonna get you to pull something out of the box, and we're gonna talk about it. I've got it planned out for the next few weeks. Every Friday we're gonna talk about stuff live here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Folks, if you get a chance, farmers markets are still cranked up. Garden centers are running low on pansies, but we managed to snag some yesterday. You might find some late paperwhite bulbs to get started indoors. But at any rate, have a safe weekend. If there is a farmer's market, or if you can make it to the Craftsman's Guild Chimneyville Arts Festival, take some kids with you. Show them how to do what we do best, and that's get dirty. See y'all later.